Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm a global artist ambassador for FENIX360, and I'm blessed to be joined today by the artist Joe Rich. Hey, Joe, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you doing, John?
Oh, I'm doing good. Hey, listen, Joe, I really appreciate connecting with you, man. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of your music with our audience and learning about your journey in being an artist. So before we kick off, okay, if we tune into your track, Beach Patrol?
Absolutely. I'd
All
be
right. That sounds great. Okay, everybody, let's tune in now to Joe Rich with Beach Patrol.
I'll find a woman, she'll find the time. I'll bet next success is such a perfect crime. Come into my humble abode, come and let me see that delicate throat. Come into my castle, I'm all alone. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, man, great to share your music with everybody. Thanks so much. I really enjoy the vibes. Now, can you tell me, where are you from and how'd you first get involved with music?
Well, I live in Dedham, Massachusetts, which is just southwest of Boston, and I've grown up in this area my whole life. So um, I've really never gone much farther away than a couple towns over. So I've been, living in this area and just going through different jobs and different relationships and all that. It's all taking place here, so it is kind of ironic that a lot of my music is based on the beach and in tropical locales. Maybe it's because I really like the escapist vibe,
Sure.
and I really dig trop rock music. Um, but yeah, for someone who's spent his entire life in New England, I don't really sing about the winter much, you know.
No, I get that, man. And I got to tell you what, there's some beautiful beaches out there too.
That's
Times I've
true.
spent in Situate, Mass, and I got to tell you what, the beach vibe it's going along the New England coast for sure too. Now, I'm lucky because I'm out on the West Coast, and as a surfer, I can really appreciate your track Beach Patrol. But before we talk about that, can we talk about how you first got introduced to music? What was your calling for music? I mean, how did you first get started with it?
Well, I guess it was natural because my dad was such a huge music fan. I mean, he was really heavy into the Beatles, and so I was really made aware of them at a young age. But what turned me on to music myself was MTV in
Oh, yeah.
1988, 89. I got really into Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. And the first video that I loved was Lay Your Hands on Me by Bon Jovi. And so I
Uh-huh.
started going with my dad to record stores and music stores. And I'd get, you remember cassette singles. I used to
Of
always get
course.
cassette singles. And I was really into rock and roll, heavy metal to a certain extent as well. And then, I asked for a guitar for Christmas when I was 9. Back then, no internet and just not a whole lot of availability. My dad said, we can't find a left-handed guitar. So can you learn how to play righty? So I said, yeah, I mean, I just want a guitar. So he got me a
Sure.
right-handed guitar, and I started just learning riffs from friends and stuff. And you pick up, like, we learned how to do Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin, and Smoke on the Water and Enter Sandman, and it all kind of went like that. And I kept trying to get my friends to join a band with me, but no one would ever get the drum set. No one would ever
They
splurge on the
wouldn't
drum set.
commit.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just kept hoping, and then finally I got lucky. And when I was 20, I hooked up with a few guys that lived in High Park and West Roxbury. I sort of knew, tangentially, and we all got together and we started writing music. We started jamming. One of them did have a drum set. One of them had a bass, so we were in, and
Neat.
we just we were like gangbusters. It was so fun, just playing music, even just learning new songs, writing songs together. We stayed up till 3 in the morning one night writing a song, and we all still cherish that memory, because we went home, you could hear the birds chirping. It was like we wrote a song, like this is crazy. And
Yeah.
we played a lot of gigs in the area, and I just loved it. I loved it. It was a dream. And bands break up, and so we broke up, and I wanted to keep going, and so I did everything I could to continue writing, and ideas kept coming to me, and so I kept writing. And there were times when I put the guitar down, but then I'd pick it up again, and it was always something that came back. And I got really lucky a few years ago where I hooked up with this guy, Wayne Sinclair. He's a producer and a singer and songwriter in Connecticut. And he contacted me because he said, you know, you're a trop rock guy. You're really into Jimmy Buffett. I'm kind of a parrot head. And
Right.
said, there aren't many of us up here. A lot of them live in Florida or Texas. You know, we should get together. So that started a whole new relationship and a whole new, you know, explosion of songwriting. So I've done a few albums that Wayne has produced, and I'm finishing my third album that he's producing. I'm hoping it'll be out in September. So that's where I stand right now.
Oh, listen, congratulations to that. It's great to hear, your trajectory in terms of how you were introduced to music to your dad, and
Oh
his
yeah,
love of music. And then MTV, what influence MTV had on us all, right?
oh
I
man.
was, and especially those hair bands. I was a big fan of heavy metal, to tell you the truth, and followed a lot of those kinds of bands. I loved just the hard driving sound. But as I mellowed out, like, you know what I mean? Reggae music was introduced to me and other kinds of rhythms that were more beach oriented and island vibes. And I was a parrot head too, as well as a
Awesome.
deadhead. And so I'm lucky that I've traversed a lot of these kinds of genres, but it sounds like we have a lot in common in terms of our love of music and artists in particular. Are there any artists in particular, either from Boston area or anywhere and really kind of in your scope that you feel like is real influence for you?
Well, I have to give Van Morrison a lot of credit because he's been sort of a constant in my life. You know, ever since obviously Brown Eyed Girl and how you know, the gateway drug of Van Morrison is, you know, either Moondance or Brown Eyed Girl. But throughout my life, I've always loved his music, and I admire how prolific he is. He still puts out music, and his voice has always really just struck me as something that comes like right from the soul. And so I appreciate him a lot. Obviously, I love Jimmy Buffett. I've loved him for many, many years, and he's been a great influence. But you know, being a California guy, I have to give you guys credit for producing the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys were a huge
Of course.
influence on me in my early 20s. I fell in love with those early 60s records. I thought they were just brilliant, and you know, I still love them. You know, and
Well, so do I. I still love them.
yeah, it's just beautiful music. And I was lucky. I got to see them in 2012 when they did their 50th anniversary reunion tour. So I got to see them with Brian, and it was awesome.
That is
And
excellent,
yeah,
man. You talk about that memory of you guys when you were up till 3 in the morning and creating music of your own, and that all was seeded by inspirations of the kinds of artists we followed, albums that we bought. You know what I mean? The friendships that we had that they dug that music too, and so I can tell that was really kind of iron sharpening your own iron to be an artist yourself. But that's a true calling. There's a lot of sacrifices you have to make to become established as a commercial artist. You know what I mean? Have you had and enjoyed doing a lot of live performing?
oh yeah, yeah. I've played a lot of bars and clubs in the area. There was
Mhm.
one in Reedville, Mass, called Cappy's Tavern that I used to play a lot. There was the Deli After Dark in Dedham. I used to play there a lot. Lewis's in Norwood. Um, And when I was in the band, we played TT the Bears in Cambridge, which was a legendary club. I
Nice.
got to play the Middle East upstairs in the corner once. That was like you know, Mecca. You know, like that club in Cambridge was that was a real, you know, achievement. I never got to play the downstairs, which was like the real big league, but
Yeah.
just playing there was amazing. And so most recently, I played at Porch Fest here in Dedham. We had a big event on June 27th where we played on porches, and there were neighbors that would come from place to place. We had a map, and you could go all around, and it was a really fun annual event. So yeah, so I do try to stay active and get out there, and like you said, iron sharpens iron. When you play a gig, it just makes you better. And you know, the
Yes.
gigging, I think, is worth like 10 or 20 practices. Just being in front of people and putting on a show.
Absolutely. That element of entertainment, when you're an entertainer, it's not, it's more than just actually playing the music or even singing the song. It's actually responding to the crowd and it's delivering it to them in almost a gifting way, but bringing them into the experience too with you. I think that's, you know what I mean, a powerful way that you perform in which to do that. And I'm sure it's rewarding for you. What's it like to be up there? We all of us fans that have always imagined ourselves being in that position, but wouldn't have necessarily the courage to be up there. It's scary. How does that, do you feel adrenaline when you're up there on stage?
Oh yeah, it's very surreal, and it is like a drug, because it's like as it's happening, you're kind of observing it in one corner of your mind, but you're also experiencing it. So you're like, oh, this is great, and then you're also like, is this going well? Is this right?
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah, yeah. Is it great? Yeah,
experiencing it
right.
and observing it, and it's a very surreal experience. But when you're with other people who are enjoying it, it really enhances it, because then it's like, oh, we're experiencing this together. This is good. This is fun. You're having fun. I am too. So I've always believed that if you as the performer are having a good time and you like the material and you're into the music that you're performing, that's going to result in a positive experience for the audience. If you're just going through the motions and you don't actually want to be there, that's going to be clear, like, to the
Yeah.
people, and
The
it's
energetic frequency, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
People can pick
yeah,
up on it. You know what I mean? If you're psyched and enjoying it, then it's just all the, it's almost like a permission slip for them also to engage in that way, you know?
that's
Uh,
a great way of putting it. Yeah, and it can
yeah.
go both ways. If there's a performer who's struggling, the audience can pick them up, and they can really, just by their body language and the noise they're making, they
Right.
can really lift up the spirit of the performer.
Oh, that is beautiful. Okay, now listen, Joe, what are you working on now? What's the current project?
Well, the new album is going to be called King of Goodbyes, and we've already got, I think, 16 tracks, so it's probably not going to have all of those. We're probably going to cut a few, save them for later, but it's going to be a full-length album.
Beautiful.
A lot of it is trop rock, some of it's country. You'll be happy to learn there is a reggae song on there called
Oh, good.
Bloke Stoker, and that's one I'm really proud of. So I hope you like that one when it comes out. I'm hoping for a September release. And one more thing we're doing before we wrap up our work on it is we're working on a Christmas song
Cool.
called "Why on Earth Have the Bells Not Rung." So we're going to be recording that in a couple weeks, and then we'll be done with that process. So my hope is that people will dig it, and they'll be on Spotify or YouTube or FENIX360, and they'll check it out.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to look forward to that progress. You know what I mean? And speaking of which, what about in the social world? How do people connect with you and discover your music? What kind of platforms are you on?
Well, I do try to keep it simple. All of my social media handles are Joe Rich Music. So if you're looking for me on Facebook or Instagram, it's just Joe Rich Music.
Cool.
And on Threads and on X, TikTok, it's just you just look for Joe Rich Music, and that's just JoeRichMusic. And I'm on Snapchat, although I still haven't figured out how to use it, but I'm there. And
Yeah.
YouTube, I'm a big so you can find me on any of those. I'm there on all of those, and I'm even on Blue Sky too. That one's pretty user friendly. So yeah, I try to cover all my tracks, but it's all Joe Rich Music.
That's excellent, Joe. And listen, is Joe Rich your stage name or is it your natural name, Rich?
That's my name. And the funny thing about it is, my dad said when I was a kid, we called you Joe Rich because we thought it would look good on a baseball card. I didn't make that happen. So there are a few other Joe Riches out there. There's a famous BMX rider named Joe Rich who he gets a lot more credit for the name than I do. But I'm just one of a few Joe
Right.
Riches out there. Yeah.
No, I can appreciate it, but Joe Rich Music is your handle. We'll look for that one. It's interesting because, Bob Marley also was asked one time about being successful and his response, what you mean rich? You know what I mean? And there's many different ways to be rich. Rich
Oh
emotion,
yeah.
rich in friendships, rich in abundance. You know what I mean? Rich in love, man. So at any
Absolutely.
rate,
Yeah.
I'm glad, Joe, that you're doing what you love to do, what your calling has expressed you to do, what you find fun and engaging, and it's also, I think, generous, to those people that get to engage you. So we're going to look forward to your progress, man. I want everyone to tune into the social media links you're going to find below our interview today with Joe Rich and look for him rising out in the world and on the Phoenix 360 app platform. Brother, it has been a blessing for me to hook with you, man.
Oh, same to you, brother. I really appreciate you, John, and thank you for everything you're doing for the artists out there. It's a really big boost for us. We really appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks, Joe. Respect.
Now he drives to the beach in his black and white car, starfish painted on the side, big smoky hat, sunglasses, sunshine smile a mile wide. Once he hits the sand, he's a man working on his tan as he struggles. Oh my